Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing day. Let's get right into the stories. The first story is titled, Crazy Lady Accuses Me of Kidnapping My Stepson. Tries to kidnap him from me. So, this happened about a week ago, and I honestly am still fuming from this. I'm not sure if this belongs in this subreddit, but here goes. First, a little backstory. I'm a mixed ethnicity individual. I've been confused for many races over the course of my 29 years on this planet, but I'm literally Caucasian and African American. Usually it can be figured out, but the difference with me is my father is the Caucasian, so therefore my hair is straight. I'm originally from Texas and am usually confused for being Mexican, but now I live in Massachusetts and I've never had an issue with anyone concerning my race until this day. Also, I'm married to a Caucasian woman who had a child before we were married. His father is not in his life as much, and I took the responsibility because I love this woman and I love this little boy as if he were my own. He's 4 now, and I've been in his life since he was 1. Anyways, on to the story. My wife needed a few things from the grocery store, and she needed to run a few more errands, and usually she just goes and knocks things out herself because I'm asleep. I work nights. But this particular day, I happened to be awake and I offered to go for her. She works hard and does a lot, so I definitely felt it was necessary to do something for her so she could just relax for the day. I took my son with me so she could just rest up and take it easy, and it gave me time to spend with my son for some bonding. We completed all of the errands, which went smoothly, and then headed to the grocery store to finish up our day. My son, being a typical 4-year-old, was full of energy, running ahead of me, laughing and speaking to everyone he comes across, which I generally don't mind as long as he doesn't hit anyone and stays within eye view. As I'm making my way down an aisle looking for canned corn, my son jogs to the end of it when an older lady is entering at the other end. My son, being the sweet social butterfly he is, approached and exclaims an excited, "Hi, me 4 and me Ryan." Bless his little heart. The lady looked down and says, "Well, hello there. You shouldn't be running around unattended. Let's go find your parents." I didn't think anything of her statement because I assumed she just hadn't seen me. "Ryan, come back here, bud, please." He excitedly runs back toward me and starts running in circles because, he's 4, lol. I'm still searching the shelves as the lady walks past me and stops behind me. Again, I think nothing of it because it's a grocery store and you have to share the aisles. I turn my basket around and start to walk towards the front cash registers when this lady literally blocks my path. I say, "Excuse me," and try to walk around her, and she moves her cart in front of me again. I honestly thought she was just getting confused and said "excuse me" once again and tried one more time to go around, and she just blocks my path. The following convo ensues. Me. Sorry about that, we'll get out of your way. Lady. "Oh, I don't think so. You're not going anywhere with that child." Me. "You mean my son?" Lady. "That's not your child. He's white, and you're Mexican. You probably didn't even know his name until he said it to me." Me. "Sure, whatever, lady. Can you just move? My wife is at home and anxiously waiting for us." Lady. "Stop your lies. You're not taking him anywhere, you pervert." This whole time my son is standing close to me holding my leg because he was honestly getting scared. I was getting angry because I hadn't had much sleep and I have a short fuse anyway. Thanks, Dad. Me. "As you can see, he's standing close to me because he trusts me and you're scaring him, so how about you buzz off?" Lady. "No, he's scared because of you. He just doesn't know how to express it yet." She looks at my son. Lady. "Come on now, sweetie. I'm here to rescue you. Come with me." Thankfully, my son was able to communicate to her he wasn't going anywhere with her, but she was having none of it. She literally grabbed my son and began to run. It caught me off guard because I honestly could not fathom what was actually happening. My son starts screaming loudly because he was so scared, and this lady is just like, "Don't worry, sweetie, he won't hurt you, I promise." Suddenly, I snap back into reality and I begin to chase after this crazy wench. While running through the store, I yell for people to stop her and that she's kidnapping my son, and thankfully a worker stops her before she makes the exit. Lady. "Why are you stopping me? This Mexican here is trying to kidnap my grandson." My son literally is bawling his eyes out and extending his arms out calling for me. This lady was relentless and would not let go of my son even after he slaps her face multiple times. I laughed a little, not going to lie. At this point, a manager shows up and asks what's going on. The lady spoke before me. Lady. "This," pointing at me, pervert is trying to kidnap my grandson, and I was just trying to escape. Me. That's my son, you freaking psycho. Now let him go. The manager didn't know what to believe. I don't blame him, he was caught in a weird situation. So I pulled out my phone and showed him pictures of me and my son that dated a year or so back as proof. This lady still would not give up and accused me of faking them. Like, how would you do that exactly? I'll never know, but whatever. Sadly, there were two other ladies there taking the psycho's side and said I was attempting to kidnap my own son because there was no way we were family because of our different skin tones. One even called the police, which I was actually happy about because I knew they'd be able to review the security cameras. Even still, I called my wife to see if she could come to the store to get the situation cleared up quicker. As soon as I told her what was going on, she zoomed to the store. She got there about the same time as the police. The crazy ladies were giving their statement to the cops when my wife walked in. As soon as she walked in, my son goes, "Mama, help!" My wife is a true mama bear, and she immediately flew into a rage when she saw this lady holding my son. Wife: "Let him go now!" Lady: "Sorry, sweetie, I was just trying to protect him from this pervert over here." Lady 2: "Yeah, we saw him trying to kidnap him, but this lady saved him." The cop looks at the lady and is confused. Officer: "I thought this was your grandson." Wife: "I have no idea who that lady is." She takes out her phone and shows the officer a picture of my mother-in-law. Lady: "Okay, I'm sorry, he's not my grandson, but I was only trying to protect him from this dirty pervert over here." Lady 2: "Yeah, I witnessed the whole thing. He snatched that child and tried to run away with him, but this lady stopped it." Lady 3: "Yes, I saw it too. He needs to be arrested. And you," pointing to my wife, "should be thankful that this lady was here to save your son because you obviously just let him loose wherever." Wife: "Who are you talking about again?" All three crazy ladies pointed at me. Wife: "Oh, you mean my husband?" Lady 1: "Husband?" Wife: "Yeah, who do you think called me and got me here so fast?" I presented my ID to the officer and the manager, and my wife did the same. We also each showed pictures of us on our phones to prove we were really a family. The cop nodded in approval and handed us our phones back and jotted down a few notes. The three ladies for some reason still kept trying to say this was all fake and my wife was in on the kidnapping and said we needed to be arrested. My wife lost it at this point and let off some colorful words I won't repeat here, but she definitely got her point across. Then the nail in the coffin came for the psycho trio. The officer turned to the manager and asks, Officer: "Sir, do the cameras work here?" Manager: "Yes, we have them inside and out." Officer: "Okay, great. Let's go review." The three ladies' faces went pale, like ghostly pale. The officer reviewed the outside camera as I pulled into the parking lot and saw me take my son out of my car. And then, as I went up and down the aisles, and most importantly, the instance the woman snatched up my son and began to run. Upon his return, he asks, "Officer, would you like to press charges?" Lady 1: "Yes, I would." Officer: "Why would I be asking you that question? Shut your mouth and sit down." He turns to me and repeats the question. Me: "Absolutely." Lady 1 was charged with attempted kidnapping, false imprisonment, providing a false police report, and child endangerment. The other two were also charged with providing a false police report as well. To make matters worse for Lady 1, my son bruises easily and she left some terrible spots on him from where she was grasping him, but he's fine. This added a charge of child abuse to her rap sheet. I have court later this year, but I'm not sure when because of COVID. The officer will be following up with me in a few weeks. The next story is titled, "Neighbor Tries to Steal My Land and Built a Shed on My Property Claiming He's Still the Owner." It all started with a dream. My wife and I had worked tirelessly for years, sacrificing our time and energy to save up enough money to purchase the house of our dreams. It was a spacious, beautiful home with a front yard so large it felt like a park, and the cherry on top, it was just a 5-minute walk away from the beach. The beach holds a special place in our hearts because that's where we first met. We had both signed up for the same marathon and hit it off from the start. She's an attorney and one of the smartest people I know. I always had massive respect for her and try not to bring up minor inconveniences, which is why I hadn't mentioned anything about our annoying neighbor, Jackson. We bought half of Jackson's property, the half where our dream home now stands. At first, he seemed like a grumpy old man, but harmless. That was until he aggressively yelled at my wife's assistant when she was running late to sign the final documents. I should have taken that as a sign that something was off, but I didn't. Our first month in our new home was pure bliss. Our neighbor, Harry, quickly became like a brother to me. We would watch important baseball games together, and I would go over to his place every Sunday for a barbecue. Our life finally seemed perfect. But all that changed the day Jackson decided he wanted our front yard back. I had just come back from work when I saw him in our yard with a measuring tape. He was so agitated that he cut his finger, and when I went to check on him, he yelled at me for patronizing him. He claimed that the front yard wasn't part of the deal, and that he was going to build a shed there to store his gardening tools. I was shocked by the encounter and couldn't figure out what had just happened. Harry told me that Jackson was notorious for getting into rows with residents in the area, and his unreasonable behavior had only gotten worse since the death of his wife. Harry also told me that Jackson was a very unhappy man and that he would do anything to make other people's lives miserable. I was afraid of what he might do next, so I started to do some research. I found out that Jackson had a history of disputes with his neighbors and that he was known to be litigious. He had taken several people to court over minor issues and had even been convicted of assault for hitting a neighbor. I was worried about what he might do next, and I was afraid for my wife and our home. So I decided to keep my guard up and get my house fenced. Jackson raised complaints and said it was his property, but I brushed it off. My wife found out about the real reason for the fence and was shocked that I had kept it from her. She was concerned about the situation and wanted to help, so she offered to use her legal skills to help us defend our property. My wife started to gather evidence and build a case against Jackson. She discovered that he had a history of making false claims about property boundaries, and that he had been warned by local authorities about his behavior. She also found that the front yard was part of our property and that Jackson had no legal grounds to claim it as his own. With my wife's legal expertise and the evidence she had gathered, we were able to reclaim our front yard and make it legally ours. Jackson tried to fight it, but in the end he lost. The court ruled in our favor, and we were awarded the full front yard as part of our property. And that, my friends, is where the real story begins. With our front yard finally secured, my wife and I could relax and enjoy our dream home. However, we soon realized that Jackson wasn't going to give up that easily. He continued to make trouble, and we had to keep our guard up. We stayed vigilant, and my wife continued to monitor the situation using her legal skills to protect our home. Despite the difficulties, we never lost our love for the beach and our dream home. We continued to spend our days at the beach and invite friends over for barbecues in our front yard. We even started organizing community events and inviting all our neighbors to join us, including Jackson. Surprisingly, Jackson slowly started to change. He would show up to our community events and even help with the barbecues. He became a regular at our Sunday barbecues and started to open up about his life and the reasons behind his behavior. He had been struggling with the loss of his wife and had taken his anger out on others. My wife and I were understanding and compassionate, and we helped him through his grieving process. He became a different person, and our relationship with him changed for the better. He was no longer the grumpy, unreasonable neighbor we had feared, but a friend and a valued member of our community. In the end, our dream home and the beach brought us together, not just as a couple, but as a community. We had faced challenges and overcame them, and our love for our home and each other had only grown stronger. It all started with a dream, but it turned into a beautiful reality. The last story is titled Karen on a Plane. I was on an airplane, and right when we landed, a Karen in the back unbuckled and darted to the front of the plane to get off first. She did not make any eye contact and felt that she was special. I'm talking about going from the very last seat on the plane down the whole row and past first class. Basically, standing at the little kitchen thing in the front. All this time, the seatbelt sign was still on, and we were still rolling down the runway. The flight crew had asked her to return to her seat until we reached the gate, but she was not even responding. Everyone was basically trying to just wait it out. It was a long flight, 8 hours, and at this point we were exhausted anyways. Nobody said a word. Suddenly, the captain announced we had a special guest on board, and he will be coming out to greet after we were settled at the gate. The Karen stood there awkwardly until we did the whole rolling into the gate and whatever planes do when they land for about 15 to 20 minutes. Everyone sat there waiting to see what the captain was talking about. Eventually, the captain came out and asked the lady to please move back a little to get to his special guest, then a little more, then a little more. He was looking from row to row, trying to find a specific person. Everyone is watching and looking around to see who it could be. He kept going and going, asking the Karen to please step back a few more steps each time. Finally, as they approached the rear of the plane, he asked her to sit for a second while he grabbed the intercom at the rear of the plane. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce our special guest sitting in seat 42C. Let's give her a round of applause. The whole plane went wild with laughter and applause. I loved every moment of that. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We'll see you again tomorrow.